Hello lovely people, welcome to Stella's Yarn Universe. In this crochet tutorial we will make a little pig. This was a suggestion from one of my dear customers and I loved it because it's such a great project if you're making farm animals for little ones to play with, and it's also a symbol of good luck for the new year in Germany where I come from, and I'm sure in other places as well. So I thought it would be a good time for a little project like this. If you prefer using written instructions, there's a free version of the pattern available on my website that you can use alongside this video. I also made a PDF pattern with detailed step-by-step photos of the process that you can purchase for a small fee on Etsy or Ravelry. And it's also included in my Patreon if you'd like to join. The link to that is in the description box below together with the shop links. There's also a Ribbler version for this pattern if you prefer using interactive Ribbler patterns. And so with that being said, let's talk about what tools and materials we need to make this little pig. For this project we need DK or light worsted weight yarn, which is size 3. I'm using Paintbox Yarns Cotton DK, and we need one color for the hooves and one main color for the legs, the body, the head, all the other parts. You can also use slightly thinner yarn for the written PDF pattern. I used Scheepjes Catona, which is a 4-ply or fingering weight yarn. Then I'm using a 2.5 millimeter hook, which is something in between a size B1 and C2. So you can use either one. A C2 should be fine with the light worsted yarn. We also need a yarn needle and a large-eyed sewing needle for the embroidery. And for that we also need black embroidery floss, about 25 centimeter, 10 inches. We also need fiber fill and a stitch marker, and 2 pins should be enough, and scissors of course, and I always use these small pliers for jewelry making for stuffing the amigurumi, but that's optional. We start with the legs and with the hooves in particular, and I'm using this beige color for the hooves this time. So we make a magic ring. Just use any method that you prefer. And then in round 1 we make 8 single crochet in the magic ring. And then we close it. And in round 2 we crochet in the back loops only. So we start with 2 single crochet. So I'm only going through the back loop of the first stitch. Make a single crochet here, and then I go through the back loop of the next stitch to make the second single crochet. And now we have 2 decreases. So these decreases also go in the back loops. So usually we make them in the front loops, but in this case we make them in the back loops. So we go through the next back loop and then through the back loop of the next stitch. So I'm twisting my hook to get in there because it can be a little tricky. And then we pick up the yarn and put it through the 2 back loops. And pick it up again and pull it through the 2 remaining loops. And then we repeat all of this. So go through the back loop and the next back loop. Pick up the yarn, pull it through both back loops. Pick it up and pull it through the 2 loops on the hook. And we finish the round with 2 single crochet. And with the next one, with the last single crochet, we actually change color to whichever color you chose as the main one. I'm using this light pink. So we have that ready here. And with the last single crochet, go through the back loop of the last stitch, pick up the old color yarn, pull it through, and then I take the new color yarn and pull it through the 2 loops. And just pull that tight. We can fasten the old color off already. And that's round 2 done. Now we have 2 rounds of 6 single crochet. And we work in the full stitches, front and back loop. This is round 3 done. So 1 more, 6 single crochet. And this is round 4 done. So from here, the front and hind legs are different. So let's start with the front legs. For the front legs, round 5 begins with an increase. So now we make 2 single crochet in the first stitch. And then we make 4 single crochet, 1 in each of the next 4 stitches. And an increase in the last stitch. So again, 2 single crochet in here. So now our round has 8 stitches, and in the next 2 rounds we'll make 1 single crochet in each of them. So this is round 6 done, and 1 more round of 8 single crochet. And this is round 7 done. So we finish the leg by making a slip stitch in the next stitch, and then we fasten off, and we don't need a long yarn in here. This should be long enough. And this is the foreleg done. So now you can repeat all of these steps to make the second foreleg, and then you can repeat rounds 1, 2, 4 to make the first hind leg. And once that's done, we'll crochet the hind legs from round 5 together. So for the hind leg, I crocheted rounds 1 to 4 the same way as I did for the forelegs. In round 5 for the hind legs, we have another round of 6 single crochet. Then in round 6, we start with an increase. And then we make 4 single crochet. And an increase in the last stitch. So now we have 8 stitches in the round. In the next round, we start with a decrease. So this is a regular decrease or invisible decrease. So we go through the front loop of the next stitch and the front loop of the next one. Pick up the yarn, pull it through the 2 front loops, pick it up and pull it through the 2 loops on our hook. Then we have 1 single crochet, and 2 increases. One single crochet, and we finish the round with a decrease. So again, we single crochet the next 2 front loops together. So now we are back to a stitch count of 8. We still have a stitch count of 8, and in the next 2 rounds we'll single crochet 1 in each of these 8 stitches. That's 1 round done and 1 more round of 8 single crochet. And that's the last round done. So here again we make a slip stitch in the next stitch and fasten off. So this is the hind leg. Now you can repeat all of these steps to crochet the second hind leg. Once you crocheted all the legs, you can use these yarn ends as filler. So not this one, keep that out of the way, but the other three. And this is why I love these little pliers, because they help me push the yarn ends into the leg. And that's it. I'm going to repeat this now with the other 3 legs. Now I have the 4 little legs ready over there because we'll need them soon. But first we crochet the belly. And so I start this with a little loop on my hook. And then we make 10 chains. Then in round 1, we make 8 single crochets starting in the second chain from the hook. That's 8. I give that a little pull. So now there should be 1 chain left, and in this one we make 4 single crochet. So I make 2 in this side and then turn it around, make 2 more in the same stitch but from the other side. Now we'll crochet in the other side of these chains, and so we'll have 7 single crochet, 1 in each, so they go here in the opposite side of the existing single crochet. And this is 7. So now we'll make 3 single crochet in the other side of this remaining chain here. And that's the round complete. So now we have a round of 22 stitches. And I'll place my stitch marker in the last one here. In the next round, we'll crochet the legs on the belly here. And so the way we do that is the hind legs will go here on the near the end and beginning of the round, because that's the back, and the front legs will go here to the front. So this is the back, the rear side of the pig, and this is going to be the front. And we want the legs to go on pointing in this direction. So as you can see, this especially with the hind legs that joint here of the leg is on this side, and so it's making like a curve somehow, and that makes the hoof point forward. So we want to try to get the legs on pointing in this direction. You can also tell the direction by the color change that we made. So here where we had the beginning and the end of the round, that marks the back of the legs. So with that said, let's start by crocheting around the first hind leg. So we'll crochet the hind leg, and then crochet in the belly, in the front leg, crochet the chest, the front leg, belly, and hind leg. So starting with the first hind leg, we want it to go on the belly like this. And so I'm going to start crocheting on the inside of the leg, quite centered. So the inside would then be this side. And I would say the center of the inside is this stitch here, the last one before the slip stitch. So let's see how that works out. So now we make 8 single crochet all around the leg. The next one here goes in the slip stitch. So I pull that yarn in tight. Now I need to be careful not to crochet in this stitch again, but in the next one. And that's 8. So now we'll crochet in the next 9 stitches of the belly. And now you can see where the hoof is pointing. So I think that's looking good. It's kind of pointing, yeah, it's pointing forward and maybe a little bit outward. So that's what we want. So 9 single crochet here. After the 9 single crochet in the belly, we attached the first foreleg, and I made an error with that, which is why I unraveled the whole round again, in case you're wondering why my yarn looks like this. So the next, or the first foreleg, goes on this way. So we want the hoof pointing forward, and so I'm starting to sew into the leg at the back, so we can identify the back by looking at this color change here after round 2. And then I go up, and then I want it to be slightly inward facing. So I'm starting to join the leg here in this slip stitch, and then we make 8 single crochet around the leg. So I think what might have gone wrong is I sometimes forget, or I crochet into the stitch that's underneath the slip stitch as well, and this way I make 9 single crochet instead of 8. So be careful not to crochet into this one, but into the next one. That's 8. Then we make 2 single crochet in the belly. Quick check how the legs look. So that's looking good, both pointing to the left. And now we join the second foreleg. So now we're on the other side. So we want the hooves pointing to the right. So it should go on like this, more or less. So I'm aiming again for the back of the leg. So where we have the color change here, that's the back. And then I'm going inward, which is the other side this time. So I'm starting here in the second, or in the stitch next to the slip stitch. And then we make 8 single crochet around the second foreleg. And the last one goes into the slip stitch here. And there we go, that's 8. Now we make 9 single crochet in the belly. So starting with the next one, which is this one here. Just checking if the hoof is pointing forward, which looks good. And that's 9. So now we should have 2 stitches left in the round. But first we crochet in the second hind leg. So we want it to go on this way. So this is the inside of the leg, and I'm aiming for the center, more or less, center of the inside. So 3 stitches. I'm counting 3 stitches from the slip stitch. So 1, 2, 3, and that's where I'm starting. So for you, the placement might be slightly different. So that's because you may use different yarn, or you might have a different tension when you crochet. That's why I'm explaining so much about the attaching the legs, because the stitch you want to start in might vary for everyone. So here we're making an 8 single crochet all around the leg. 7, 8, and then we single crochet in the remaining 2 stitches of the round. And that's it. So now we have a round of 54. So in the next 3 rounds 3, 2, 5, we single crochet 1 in each of these 54 stitches. So you can pause the video here and crochet these 3 rounds. Rounds 3 to 5, the 3 rounds of 54 single crochet are done now, and in the next round we will crochet an opening for the neck. And for this we want to skip the 10 stitches in the center front. So we're going to crochet all the way up to somewhere here. For me, with the other pig, it took me 21 single crochet to get to that point, but it may be different for you. It may even be different for me this time because I'm using different yarn. So let's see how many stitches it takes. I'm going to start with 21 single crochet and see if that works. So that's 21. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would be the midpoint. That looks good because that seems to be exactly in the center front. So I'm going to stick to the 21 single crochet. So now I'm going to make 10 chains. And skip these next 10 stitches. So we start in the 11th stitch. And then we single crochet in the remaining stitches of the round. So for me that's 23, including the one I just made. So round 6 is done, and the opening for the neck is nicely centered in the front. So in the next round I'm going to make 1 single crochet in each stitch and in each chain. So I'm starting with 21 again. And now I'm going to crochet in the chains, and I only go through the back loop of each chain because we want the front loops to crochet the neck out of later on. And that's 10 single crochet out of the chains. Now we're going to single crochet in the remaining 23 stitches of the round, or however many you have left. So you can pause the video and do this in your own time. That's round 7 done. And in round 8, I'm going to start with 20 single crochet. And that's 20. Now we make 6 decreases in a row. So these are regular invisible decreases in the front loops. And that's 6. So now I'm going to single crochet in the remaining 22 stitches of the round. So you can pause the video again and hit play once it's done. Round 8 is done now, and we're down to a stitch count of 48. In the next round, we're going to single crochet 1 in each of the 48 stitches. So you can pause the video again and play it once you completed the round of 48 single crochet. So round 9 is done, and in the next round we decrease some more. So we start with 3 single crochet, and then we make a decrease, and then 6 single crochet. And now we repeat the decrease and 6 single crochet 4 more times. And 6, another decrease, and that's 6, so the 5 repetitions altogether are done. So now we make another decrease, and then we single crochet in the remaining 3 stitches of the round. So our stitch count is now down to 42, and from here we just keep decreasing in every round. So in the next round we start with 5 single crochet, and then we make a decrease, and we repeat this 5 more times. 5 single crochet, and a decrease, and that's the round done. So now we're down to a stitch count of 36. In the next round we start with 2 single crochet, then we make a decrease, and 4 single crochet, and now we repeat the decrease and 4 single crochet 4 more times. And then we make another decrease and single crochet in the remaining 2 stitches. So now our stitch count is down to 30. In the next round we start with 3 single crochet, and then we make a decrease, and we repeat this 5 more times. 3 single crochet and a decrease. So now our stitch count is down to 24, and it's a good time to stuff the body with fiber fill. So this should be enough for now. We still have the neck opening through which we can add more fiber fill. And then we continue with our decreases. So in the next round, we start with 1 single crochet, and then we make a decrease, and then 2 single crochet, and then we repeat the decrease and 2 single crochet 4 more times. And then we make 1 more decrease, and a single crochet in the last stitch. So our stitch count is now down to 18. In the next round, we start with 1 single crochet again, and then we make a decrease, and we repeat this 5 more times. 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, and a decrease in the last 2 stitches. So now our stitch count is down to 12, and so in the last round of the body we make 6 decreases in a row. And that's it. Now we can fasten off. And before we weave in the yarn end and or close the round and weave in the yarn end, I just push the fiber fill to the back. Even add some more now. That should be enough for now. So then we can thread the yarn end on our yarn needle. And go through the front loops of all 6 stitches. Then close the round tight. Be careful if you don't use cotton yarn. You don't want to rip the yarn at this stage. That would be frustrating. And then we go through the center of the last round and weave in the yarn end. So I just go through to the belly here and pull. And here I'm going to weave in this yarn end with a few stitches. And oops, then we cut it short. So that's the legs and body of our pig done. Now we're going to crochet the neck out of the neck opening. So we join the yarn in this stitch here that already has a single crochet in it. That was the last stitch before we made the chains and skipped the 10 center front stitches. So I'm going through here again to join the yarn. And then we start by making 1 single crochet in each of these skipped stitches. That's the 10th. And now we single crochet in this stitch here that also already is crocheted in, the first stitch that we crocheted in after skipping these 10 stitches. So we go through here again and make 1 single crochet, and then we single crochet in the other side of the chains that we made here. So we should have 10. Sometimes I accidentally skip the first one, so I count them before to make sure I'm starting in the right place. There should be 10 of them. And 10. That seems right. So this should be the first one here. There we go. So 1 single crochet in each of those. And 10, the last one. So now we only have 1 stitch to go, and this one goes in the same stitch where we joined the yarn again. So 1 single crochet in there, and now we have a round of 22. And in the next round we single crochet 1 in each of them. And 22. So now the neck is done already, and we finish with a slip stitch in the next stitch. And here we leave a long yarn end for sewing because we will use it to later sew the head. So this should be enough. That's about 12 inches, 30 centimeters. And this other yarn end can go inside. And I also add more fiber fill now to make sure all parts of the body are nicely stuffed. So that should be enough. We can now set this part aside while we crochet the head. So for the head, we also start with the magic ring. So just use your preferred magic ring method. And in round 1, we make 10 single crochet into the magic ring. And 10. Then we close the magic ring. And in round 2, we only crochet in the back loops. So we start with 3 single crochet, only going through the back loop of each stitch. 1, 2, 3. Then we have 2 decreases in a row. So here we make back loop decreases again, as we did for the hooves. So we go through the next back loop and through the next back loop, twisting the hook, and single crochet both back loops together. And then we repeat this once more. 1 back loop, 2 back loops, and that's it. And then we make 3 single crochet. So this is round 2 done. Now we have a stitch count of 8, and in round 3 we single crochet 1 in each of these 8 stitches, and now we just crochet in both the front and back loop in the fold stitches. And that's round 3 done. Round 4 starts with a single crochet, and then we make an increase in the next stitch. So 2 single crochet in here, and then we repeat this 3 more times. 1 single crochet and 1 increase. And that's it. So now we have a stitch count of 12, And in the next round we single crochet 1 in each of these 12 stitches. And that's the round done. I'll start using my stitch marker now. In the next round we start with a single crochet, and then we make an increase, and 2 single crochet. And we repeat the increase and 2 single crochet 2 more times. And then we have one more increase. And a single crochet in the last stitch. In the next round we start with 3 single crochet, and then we make an increase, and we repeat this 3 more times. 3 single crochet, and an increase. So now we're at a stitch count of 20, and in the next round we start with 2 single crochet, then we make an increase, and 4 single crochet. And then we repeat the increase and 4 single crochet 2 more times. And then we make one more increase and single crochet in the remaining 2 stitches. So now we have a stitch count of 24, and in the next 3 rounds we'll single crochet 1 in each of these 24 stitches. So you can pause the video here and hit play once that's complete. And then once the 3 rounds of 24 single crochet are done, we start decreasing. So we start with 1 single crochet, then we decrease, then we make 2 single crochet, and then we repeat the decrease and 2 single crochet 4 more times. And then we make another decrease and a single crochet in the remaining stitch. So our round has now 18 stitches, and I'm going to secure my last stitch here because now is a good time to embroider the nose and eyes. Of course, you could also do that in the very end. I prefer to do it before the head is filled, but you could also just stitch through the surface of the fibers and do it in the end if that's easier for you. So for that we need our black embroidery floss. That's about 25 centimeters, 10 inches long. And we also need a large-eyed sewing needle. So we want that to be pointy, and I'm just using a sewing needle because it's quite small and narrow, so it easily goes through the fibers. But the eye should be large enough so that the embroidery floss can get through. So here where the stitch marker is, that's kind of like the lower corner of the head. Or you can also tell by the end and beginning of the round. I see that as the bottom side of the head. So where we made the decreases here, that's the top. And so holding the head upright, I go through now and bring the needle forth to embroider the first nostril. So I'm aiming for somewhere on round 1. I'm starting on the right side, so yeah, somewhere in the corner here. It's quite in the middle of round 1, but I try at the same time to aim for the lower right corner. So I'm leaving the end here long enough to tie together later. And yeah, we want to stitch through in between fibers, so we wouldn't want to go through in between stitches like here, because there's lots of wiggle room, and this way we don't have much control over where the stitch goes. So we aim for somewhere in between the yarn's fibers. So I'm making like a vertical stitch, but it's a tiny bit diagonal, so it's a little bit going inward. And I just bring the needle to the inside of the head now. And that's another reason why these little pliers are useful, because they help me pull the needle through. And so that would be the first nostril. Now I try to make one next to it that's more or less symmetrical. Stitched right through the yarn end there. So I'm going through to the inside of the head again. Now I'm starting at the top side of the nostril, so close to the center, a little bit further up. Pull that through. And now I'm making a vertical stitch, or almost vertical, a little bit diagonal, because I'm aiming to go a little bit outward now. So the lower points of the nostrils are more outward pointing than the top points. If it all goes to plan, let's see. If it doesn't, we can easily redo this part. Bringing the needle through to the inside. Okay, that's definitely more diagonal than the first stitch. In this case, I try to see if I can fix it by just wiggling the stitch around a bit. But if I'm not happy, I'll just pull the other end through and do it from the other end again, if you know what I mean. So I don't have to undo this last stitch, which I'm quite happy with. There we go. So now the other end is threaded on the needle. I'll just make a tiny stitch just to correct the top point of the right nostril. Let's see if that works. Yeah, so now it's more, yeah, it's closer to the center. I'll bring it a little bit closer even. That's it. And now I bring this yarn end back to the inside of the head, making yeah, now it's really a diagonal stitch downward and outward. Okay, that looks more symmetrical. So that's what I do when things don't go to plan. Now I'm threading the longer end again. Just to let you know, before we embroider the eyes together, for the first pig, I actually set the eyes higher. So if you want it to look more like this one, go a bit higher than what I'm about to show you. And now I'm embroidering the eyes. So the eyes go on round 6. So this is round 1. This is round 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is round 6. So we aim now. So this is the side of the head. And we aim now at this center of the side of the head on round 6, and I'm starting at the inner corner of the eye. So yeah, maybe a little bit higher than the center. And also, like I said, I don't want to go through in between stitches. I want to stitch through the fiber to have more control over where the stitch goes. So here I pull this thread out. And now I'm making a very shallow, very tiny upside down V shape. So I'm making a tiny stitch upward, diagonally up and back, and then a tiny stitch, tiny diagonal stitch downward and back. So this is the first part of the eye. And now I go through this spot here again on the top side. Bring the thread through to the inside. And that's one eye done already. So now I want to bring the thread through to the other side to make the other eye. And I don't want it to cause too much tension inside the head. So I'll just make a small stitch just on the surface here. We don't want this to show on the outside. This is now in the middle between both eyes on the forehead, but it's just on the inside, so we can't see it on the outside. It's there, but invisible. And this is just to carry the floss through to the other side. So now I can find the same spot on the other side. So round 6 and a little bit above mid height. You can also check how it looks from the front, and I think that should be okay. So here I bring the needle out, and now I repeat this shallow upside down V shape on this side. That's part 1. Now I go through the top part here, top point again, to the inside of the head. And that's it. That's the other eye done. So then we can tie the ends together inside the head, make a double knot. And then they go inside the head together with the other yarn end. So now we can fill the head before we continue crocheting. So I'm using very small portions to fill the nose. So now we can crochet the last 2 rounds of the head. So in the next round we make 1 single crochet and a decrease, And we repeat this 5 more times. And now is the last chance to add more fiber fill. Also, you can squish the nose to make it more pig-like. So now we have only 1 round to go. In the last round, we will make 6 decreases in a row. And then we fasten off. And close the round. So we go through the front loops of all 6 stitches. Pull the round closed. And go through the center of the last round and weave in the yarn end. And cut that short. So now we crochet the ears, and the ears are crocheted in rows. So I'm making a little loop on my hook, and then we start with 5 chains. One more, 5. So in row 1 we make 4 single crochet starting in the 2nd chain from the hook. And then we chain and turn. In row 2 we skip the first stitch, which is this one here, and make 3 single crochet, 1 in each of the remaining 3 stitches. Then we chain and turn. In row 3 we skip again the first stitch and single crochet in the remaining 2 stitches. Chain and turn, and in the next row we skip the first stitch and single crochet in the remaining stitch. Then we chain and turn. Now our row only has 1 stitch, we make 1 single crochet in there. And now we crochet all around the ear. So we make 1 single crochet in the side of each row, starting in the next one. So not counting row, what you might call row 5, this last single crochet here. So the first one goes into the side of row 4. One, 2, 3, 4. Now we single crochet in the other side of the base chains. So here we also have 4 single crochet. So starting in the first one, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we single crochet in the other side of the first 4 rows. So here we also have 4 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the ear should have like a teardrop shape now, and it's bulging out. So that's how it's supposed to be. Here we fasten off and we leave a long enough yarn end for sewing. We also need to weave the yarn end through to the base of the ear. So I'm leaving it at least 8 inches, 20 centimeters long. Yeah, a bit longer even. So we thread this on our yarn needle. And now I make a little cheat stitch to make the tip of the ear. So it's not quite what I call an invisible finish because we cheat in another stitch here at the tip of the ear. So we go through the first stitch here, which was the single crochet in the last stitch of the round. Pull that through, and then we go through the back loop of the last single crochet that we made. And now we have a little cheat stitch here on top. So now we weave this yarn end down to the base of the ear, which is here. And there we'll use it to sew it to the head. So you don't need to bring it all the way down to the edge because the ear is curved or kind of bulged out. And so we'll use this whole base here, this part that will be attached to the head. But first, you can repeat all of these steps to crochet the second ear. So now we can crochet the tail. And the tail is crocheted in one single row. So we make a little loop for the hook and 7 chains. And then we make 6 increases starting in the second chain from the hook. So 12 single crochet altogether, 2 in each chain. And that's the little tail done. So we fasten off, leaving the yarn end long enough to stitch the tail on. So now it's time to assemble, and let's start with the ears. So the ears go on around 10 of the head. So where the eye starts, that's around 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So somewhere here. And let's do the other side before we make any adjustments. So I left about 5 stitches space in between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so they can definitely go closer together. And then once they're stitched on, we can fold them down. So this yarn end is already threaded on the yarn needle. So I'm just going to alternate stitches through the head and through the base of the ear. And now back through the ear. Oops. And back through the head. And through the ear. and through the head. So I'm just repeating this until I feel the ear is firmly attached. Going back and forth. And then we can weave this yarn end in. The back of the head will be covered by the neck. So that's where I'll weave all these ends in. And then I'll thread the other yarn end on the needle, and I'll use that to further attach the ear. So I think that's quite secure now, so I just go through the head, through the ear and the head, and weave this in and in as well. And now I'll repeat this with the other ear. And when the ears are firmly attached, we can fold them down. And then we can do the next part. So now we can take the little tail and stitch it to the rear, just centered on at the top here. And then we start with one yarn end. And here I just make a few stitches through the body and back through the base of the tail. And then weave in the first yarn end. and also the other yarn end. And that's the tail attached. So now we can pin the head to the neck. So let's have a look at it from all sides to make sure it's in the right position. And then we can thread this long yarn end. And now we alternate small stitches through the head and through the stitches of the single crochet stitches of the neck. So just finding a loop to pick up on the head, go through there, and then through the next stitch of the neck from the outside in, pull that close, and then find the next closest loop on the head and go through there. And then go through the next stitch of the neck from the outside in, pull that close, and through the next loop on the head. And this way we go all around the head. Once in a while I check to make sure that the head is still upright and in the right position. And once the head is firmly attached, we can go ahead and weave this yarn end in as well. So our little pig is done now. If you like, you can use some blush, pink blush, and a brush to make the nose a little more pink and the inside of the ears. I was thinking of using different yarn for the nose, but then I thought it might be easier to just slightly change the color of the nose. That's it. Now the ears. Our little pig is done now. Thank you very much for crocheting along with me. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up for me. And if you would like to share your little pig on Facebook or Instagram, you can tag me at Stella's Yarn Universe so I can also give you a big thumbs up. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, if you'd like to see more tutorials like this one, and turn on notifications so you'll be notified when they come out. Thank you again so much for being here, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!